My friends, listen to this story. A woman treated her stepson like trash. She called him servant. She gave him cold food. One night, she pushed him out in the heavy rain with only one small bag. But God was watching in silence. Years passed, and that same boy became a powerful boss. One day, the wicked woman walked into an office to beg for a job, and the man in the big chair turned around. It was her stepson. Stay with me, my friends. What happened next will shock your heart. David was 16 years old. He was tall for his age, thin, quiet. He did not talk much, but he felt a lot inside. His eyes were calm, but his heart was tired. His mother was gone. She died years ago. Since that day, the house felt empty. At night, David lay on his bed. He stared at the ceiling. He remembered his mother's voice. Soft, kind. Sometimes he whispered, "Ma, I am trying," but no one answered. His father was Mr. Okafor, a rich man, a respected man. He owned a big company in the city. People greeted him with fear. At work, he was strong. At home, he was silent. He loved David, but he was always busy. Meetings, calls, travel. David often ate alone. He waited for his father, but sleep came first. One evening, Mr. Okafor came home early. He looked happy, very happy. David noticed it. Behind him stood a woman. She wore a long dress. Her hair was neat. She smiled a big smile. "David," his father said. "Come here." David walked closer. "This is Ruth," his father said. "She will be your new mother." David froze. A new mother? His heart jumped. He looked at Ruth. She bent down. She touched his head. "My son," she said. Her voice was sweet. Her smile was warm. David smiled back. For the first time in years, he felt hope. Maybe life would change. Maybe the house would feel full again. The wedding came fast. Music filled the house. People laughed. Food covered the tables. Voices were loud. Ruth smiled all day. She hugged people. "This woman is kind." Neighbors said, "She will care for the boy." David heard them. He believed them. That night, he prayed, "God, thank you." After the wedding, things were fine at first. Ruth cooked good food. She asked about school. She smiled at David, in front of others, but when people were gone, her eyes changed. Her smile died. One morning, she called David. Her voice was sharp. "Come here," she said. David stood before her. She looked at him, up and down. "Listen to me," she said. "I am not your real mother." David felt a cold touch in his chest. "I married your father," she went on. "Not you. You are 16, she said. "You should know your place." David said nothing. "Do not call me Ma," she added. "I do not like it." David nodded slowly. From that day, small things changed. At breakfast, David waited. Ruth served Tina first, her own daughter. Hot food, clean plate. David got his food last, sometimes cold. "You are old enough," Ruth said. "Serve yourself." At night, David helped in the house. "Clean this, carry that. Do it fast," she said. "You are not a baby." My friends, if you feel David's pain in this house, subscribe to this channel and stay with his journey till the end. David tried to please her. He studied hard. He stayed quiet. He hoped she would change, but her words grew harder. One night, she pointed to a small room. "You will sleep there," she said. It was the storeroom. Dark, cold. "But my room," David started. "Enough," she shouted. "Be grateful." David picked his bag. He walked into the small room. He lay on the floor. Tears ran down his face. That night, David prayed again. "God," he whispered, "I will not give up." Outside, the house was quiet. Inside, a storm was growing, and this was only the beginning. Morning came slowly. Light entered the house. Birds sang outside. David woke up on the hard floor. His back hurt. His eyes were heavy. He sat up. He rubbed his face. For a moment, he forgot where he was. Then he remembered the small room, the boxes, the smell of dust. He stood up quietly. He did not want trouble. In the kitchen, Ruth was already awake. She moved fast. She gave orders. Tina, eat quickly. You will be late for school. Tina sat at the table. She laughed. She played with her phone. David stood near the door. Good morning, he said softly. Ruth did not look at him. Stand there, she said. Do not block the way. David waited. When Tina finished eating, Ruth cleared the table. Only then, she pushed a plate to David. Cold food, small portion. Eat fast, she said. You have work to do. David nodded. After breakfast, Ruth called him again. Wash the dishes. Clean the floor. Take the trash out. David did everything. He did not complain. He told himself, be patient. David went to school late. His uniform was clean, but old. Other boys talked loud. They joked. David sat alone. In class, he listened well. He loved books. He loved learning. His teacher noticed him. David, she said, you are very smart. David smiled a small smile. That day, a paper came to the school. It spoke about chances. Big chances. Scholarships. Dreams. David read it again and again. Hope touched his heart. When he got home, he was excited. He found his father in the living room. Papa, David said, I did well today. His father smiled. That is good, my son. David wanted to say more, but Ruth walked in. What is all this noise? She asked. David became quiet. Days passed. Ruth's words became sharp. She watched David closely. If a cup fell, she blamed him. If food burned, she blamed him. You bring bad luck, she said one day. David felt pain, but he stayed silent. One evening, Mr. Okafor came home tired. He sat down. Ruth brought him food. She spoke sweet words. David watched from far. When his father finished eating, David moved closer. Papa, he said, I want to talk to you. Ruth turned fast. Later, she said. He is tired. David stepped back. That night, David sat in the storeroom. He held his school book. The light was weak. He read slowly. Outside, he heard laughter. Ruth and Tina watched TV. David closed his eyes. Tears came again. Ma, he whispered, guide me. A few days later, something small happened, but it cut deep. David returned from school. He was hungry. He went to the kitchen. There was food on the stove. He smiled. He took a spoon. Suddenly, Ruth entered. Stop, she shouted. That food is not for you. David froze. But I am hungry, he said. She looked at him with fire. Go and drink water, she said. That is enough. Tina laughed from the corner. David dropped the spoon. He walked away. That night, David did not sleep. He sat and thought. This house is not my home, he said in his heart. But I will not break. He wiped his tears. He made a promise. One day, he whispered, I will rise. The wind blew softly. Far away, a new path waited for him. And the pain was only growing. The paper stayed in David's mind. All through the night, he thought about it. The school notice. The big chance. A chance to study far away. A chance to breathe. The next day, he woke up early. He washed his face. He wore his uniform. His heart beat fast. At school, the teacher called his name. David, she said. Come forward. The class went quiet. She handed him a white paper. Read it, she said. David read slowly. It was real. A scholarship. Full support. Books. School fees. Even travel. His hands shook. His eyes filled with tears. This is for you. The teacher said, You earned it. The class clapped. David felt light, like he could fly. He ran home that day. His feet were fast. His heart was full. For once, he forgot the pain. He reached the house. He dropped his bag. His father was in the living room. Papa, David said, his voice shaking. Look at this. Mr. Okafor took the paper. He read it. His face changed. A smile came. My son, he said. This is good. He stood up. He hugged David. You will be great, he said. You will go far. David felt warm. For the first time in years, he felt seen. Ruth stood at the door. She watched them. Her smile was gone. Her eyes were dark. What is all this? She asked. Mr. Okafor showed her the paper. Our son got a scholarship, he said proudly. Ruth took the paper. She read it once. Then again, her fingers tightened. "That is nice," she said. Her voice was calm, too calm. She walked away. David did not notice. That night, David slept with a smile. He dreamed of new places, new rooms, new days, a life without fear. The next morning, Ruth was alone in the kitchen. The house was quiet. She held the paper. She stared at the words, study abroad, success, future. Her face grew hard. "No," she whispered. "This boy will not leave me." She walked to the sink. She tore the paper. Slowly, one piece, then another. She turned on the stove. She dropped the pieces into the fire. The paper curled. It burned. Ash fell. Her face did not move. Later that day, Mr. Okafor asked, "Where is the letter?" Ruth looked up. "What letter?" she asked. "The school letter," he said. "There was no letter." Ruth replied. She shook her head. "That boy lies," she added. "He wants money." Mr. Okafor frowned. David walked in. "Papa," he said. "The letter—" Ruth cut him off. "Enough!" she shouted. "You lie too much." David froze. His father looked confused. "David," he said slowly, "did you make this up?" David felt the ground move. "No," he said. "I swear." Ruth laughed. "See," she said. "He wants to run away." Silence filled the room. David looked at his father. He waited, but his father said nothing. That hurt more. That night, Ruth's anger grew. She walked around the house. She slammed doors. She shouted, "You eat my food. You waste my space." David stayed quiet. He knew something bad was coming. The air was heavy. Outside, clouds gathered. Wind blew hard. Rain started to fall. Ruth stood in the middle of the room. She pointed at David. "Pack your things," she shouted. "Get out." David's heart stopped. "Please," he said softly, but her face was stone. The storm outside grew louder, and David's world was about to break. Rain fell hard that night. It hit the roof. It hit the ground. The wind pushed the doors. The house shook. Ruth stood firm. Her eyes were cold. "Did you hear me?" she shouted. "Pack your things." David stood still. His heart beat fast. His hands shook. "Please," he said. "Papa, talk to her." Mr. Okafor stood near the window. He watched the rain. He said nothing. That silence cut deep. David walked to the small room. He picked his old bag, the one with torn edges. He put in his clothes. One shirt, one trouser, his books, his notebook. He held his mother's old scarf. He pressed it to his face. "Ma," he whispered, "give me strength." Ruth followed him. She watched him pack. "You are slow," she said. "Hurry up." David zipped the bag. He lifted it. It was light, like his life. He walked back to the living room. Rain poured outside. The door was open. Cold air rushed in. David stopped. He turned to Ruth. "Please," he said again. "Let me stay." He went down on his knees. The floor was cold. "I will work," he said. "I will obey. I will not disturb you." Tears ran down his face. Ruth stepped back. "I am not your mother," she shouted. "Stop calling me." "You are trash," she said. "Leave my house." She grabbed the bag. She threw it outside. It fell into the mud. Rain soaked it. "Go!" she shouted. David looked at his father. Their eyes met. David waited. But his father turned away. That was the last blow. David picked his bag. Water ran down his face. He stepped outside. The rain washed his tears. The door slammed shut. David stood alone. Dark road. Cold night. No shelter. No plan. He walked slowly. His shoes filled with water. Cars passed by. No one stopped. Street lights flickered. David felt small. But inside, something burned. He stopped under a tree. Rain dripped from the leaves. He looked up at the sky. "God," he said softly. "They call me trash. Today I have nothing. But you see me." He remembered his mother. Her words. "Never hate," she used to say. "Never give up." David wiped his face. He stood straight. "One day," he whispered, "they will see. I will rise." He walked again. Hours passed. The rain slowed. The night grew quiet. David reached a small bus stop. He sat on the bench. Cold. Wet. He hugged his bag. Sleep came slowly. Morning came. The rain stopped. Sunlight touched the road. David opened his eyes. His body hurt, but his heart was awake. A woman passed by. She sold bread. She looked at David. "Young man," she said, "are you okay?" David shook his head. She gave him bread. "Eat," she said. "Life is hard." David took it. "Thank you," he said. That small act gave him hope. He stood up. He looked ahead. The road was long, but he was still walking. Behind him, the house was quiet. Ruth slept in a warm bed. She thought she had won. She did not know. Life was turning, slowly, silently, and David's journey had just begun. My friends, if you believe David did not deserve this pain, like this video, and stay with him till the end. Years passed. Slow years. Hard years. David grew from a boy into a young man. Life did not smile at him, but it taught him. At first, he slept anywhere. Bus stops. Empty shops. Some nights, he slept hungry. Other nights, he worked late. He carried loads at the market. He washed cars. He sold water under hot sun. People shouted at him, "Move fast. You are lazy." David said nothing. He worked. During the day, he struggled. At night, he studied. He found old books. Some were torn. He read under small light. Sometimes no light. He closed his eyes and remembered school. He remembered the letter, the one that burned. Pain pushed him. One day, an old man noticed him. David was cleaning a shop. "You work hard," the man said. David nodded. The man asked questions. David answered, "Well, you are smart," the man said. He gave David small work, office work, small pay, but clean. David was thankful. David learned fast. He listened. He asked. He learned numbers. He learned business. He stayed late. He left last. People noticed. "You are different," they said. David smiled. Years moved again. David saved money. Small by small. He started something small. A delivery job. One bike. He rode day and night. Rain. Sunday. He did not stop. The work grew. One bike became two. Two became five. People trusted him. He is honest. He is sharp. David kept learning. He did not waste money. He slept little. He dreamed big. Soon, he rented a small office. Old walls. One table. He wrote a name on paper. David Okafor. He looked at it. He remembered the storeroom. The cold floor. He stood tall. Years passed again. The business grew fast. More workers came. More calls came. David wore clean clothes now. Simple. Neat. Workers greeted him. "Good morning, sir." David answered softly. "Good morning." One day, he bought a building. Glass walls. Bright rooms. He stood inside. He touched the wall. He closed his eyes. "Thank you," he whispered. Far away, life moved for Ruth. Her days changed. Mr. Okafor fell sick. Doctors came. Bills grew. The company lost money. Partners left. One morning, Mr. Okafor died. The house grew quiet. Money finished. The company closed. The big house was sold. Tina grew wild. She followed bad friends. One night, she ran away. She never returned. Ruth sat alone. The house was gone. The people were gone. Neighbors looked away. Some whispered, "You remember the boy? The one you chased?" Ruth felt shame. She begged for food. She washed clothes for others. Life hit her hard. One afternoon, she heard people talking. A big company is hiring. The boss is young, very rich. Hope entered her heart. "I can work," she said. "Cleaner, office help, anything." She stood up. She wore old clothes. She walked to the address. Tall building, glass doors. She stopped. She fixed her dress. She walked in. She did not know. She was walking into her past. The building was cold and clean. Ruth felt small as she walked in. People moved fast. Shoes shined. Voices were low. She held her old bag tight. At the desk, a young woman looked up. "Yes?" she asked. "I am here for work," Ruth said softly. The woman looked at her papers. "Cleaning job?" she said. "Wait there." Ruth nodded. She sat on a long bench. She watched people pass. Men in suits, women with files. Everyone looked important. Ruth lowered her head. As she waited, her mind moved back. She saw the old house. She saw the storeroom. She heard her own voice. "You are trash." The words hurt her now. She closed her eyes. A door opened. "Madam," a man said, "come inside." Ruth stood up. Her legs felt weak. She followed him. They walked down a long hall. Pictures hung on the walls. Awards. Photos. A young man stood in many of them. Ruth did not look well. They stopped at a big door. The man knocked. A calm voice spoke. "Come in." The door opened. Ruth stepped inside. The room was wide. Clean desk. Soft chair. The boss sat with his back to her. She cleared her throat. "Good afternoon, sir," she said. Her voice shook. "Please sit," the voice said. Ruth sat. Her hands shook. The chair turned slowly. Ruth looked up. Her heart jumped. Her breath stopped. The face was familiar. Older. Stronger. But the eyes, she knew those eyes. David?" she whispered. The room went silent. David looked at her. Calm. Still. "Yes," he said. "It is me." Ruth's head spun. She stood up fast. "No," she said. "This cannot be." She stepped back. Her legs failed her. She fell to her knees. "I am sorry," she cried. "I am so sorry." Tears ran down her face. "I was proud. I was wicked. I hurt you." David watched her. His face showed no anger, only memory. He stood up. He walked slowly. "You called me servant," he said. "You gave me cold food. You sent me to the storeroom. You pushed me into the rain." Ruth cried louder. "I was blind," she said. "Forgive me." David took a deep breath. "You wanted me to be nothing," he said, "but God lifted me. I will not hurt you. I am not like you were." Ruth looked up. Hope flashed. "You will work here," David said, "as a cleaner. You will earn well. You will eat well. But I will not insult you, because pain taught me mercy." Ruth bowed her head. "Thank you," she said. Later that day, Ruth cleaned the floor. Slow, quiet. People passed. No one mocked her. David watched from his office. His eyes were calm. His heart was heavy. Outside, the sun set. Life moved on. Karma had spoken, not with anger, but with truth. And the boy once called trash stood as a man of grace. Ruth stayed on her knees. Her hands shook. Her head was low. The room was quiet. Only the sound of the air fan. David looked at her. He did not rush. He remembered many nights, cold nights, hungry nights. He remembered the rain, the dark road, but he also remembered his mother's voice. "Do not hate," she said. "Hate will break you." David breathed in, slow, deep. "Stand up," David said. His voice was calm. Ruth stood slowly. Her eyes were red. Her face was tired. "Sit," David said again. She sat. Her hands stayed folded. "I waited many years," David said. "I waited for one word." "Sorry," Ruth cried. "I was wrong," she said. "I was cruel. I saw you as a threat. I forgot you were a child." David nodded. "Yes," he said. "I was a child." He walked to the window. He looked outside. Cars moved below. People hurried. "Pain changes people," David said. "Some become bitter. Some become strong. I chose strength." "This no might." Ruth wiped her face. "I deserve nothing," she said. "I lost everything. My husband, my home, my child. I am empty." David turned back. "I know emptiness," he said. "I slept on floors. I ate once a day. I felt invisible." Ruth looked up. She listened. "But I learned," David said. "I learned patience. I learned work. I learned mercy." He paused. "Mercy saved me." Ruth leaned forward. "Please," she said, "do not send me away. I have nowhere to go." David looked at her. "I will not send you away," he said, "but hear me well. You will work here," David said. "You will clean. You will come early. You will leave on time. You will earn your pay. You will be treated with respect." Ruth nodded fast. "Yes," she said. "Yes. But," David added. His voice grew firm. "You will not live with me. You will not control me. You will not call me son." Ruth froze. David continued. "I forgive you, but trust takes time. Forgiveness does not erase memory. Ruth lowered her head. I understand, she said. Thank you. Her voice broke. David sat down. He opened a file. This is your work paper, he said. Sign here. Ruth signed with shaking hands. She stood up. She bowed slightly. I will not fail, she said. David nodded. You may go now. Ruth turned. At the door, she stopped. She looked back. David, she said. Yes, he asked. You are a good man, she said. David did not smile. I learned from pain, he replied. Ruth left the room. The door closed softly. David sat alone. He leaned back. His eyes closed. A tear rolled down. Not of anger, not of pride, of release. Outside, workers moved. Phones rang. Life continued. David opened his eyes. He looked at his hands. Strong hands. Once small, once shaking, now steady. He whispered softly, Ma, I kept my heart clean. The room stayed quiet. Peace filled the space. But the story was not finished yet. Ruth started work the next morning. She came before sunrise. The gate was still closed. The air was cold. She stood and waited. When the guard opened the gate, she walked in slowly. This place felt different, quiet, clean, calm. She wore plain clothes. No makeup, no pride. She picked the mop. She picked the bucket. Water touched the floor. She began to clean. Slow steps, careful hands. Each move felt heavy, not because of the work, but because of memory. As she cleaned, her mind spoke to her. She saw a small boy, quiet, standing in a corner. She heard her own voice. Serve yourself. You are not my son. Her chest felt tight. She stopped for a moment. She closed her eyes. This is my lesson, she whispered. This is my harvest. Workers began to arrive. Shoes tapped the floor. Phones rang. Some looked at her. Some passed by. No one shouted. No one insulted her. That shocked her. She was used to harsh words. But here, people were calm. A young man passed. Good morning, he said. Ruth looked up. She was surprised. Good morning, she replied. Her voice was low. Her heart moved. From the glass office above, David watched. He stood still. He saw her clean the floor. He saw her bend down. He saw no anger in her face. Only regret. David felt something inside him shift. Not joy, not pain. Peace. Days passed. Ruth did not miss a day. She came early. She left on time. She cleaned well. If someone spoke to her, she listened. If someone corrected her, she nodded. I understand, she would say. Slowly, people noticed her. She works hard. She is quiet. Respect grew, not from fear, but from change. One afternoon, David walked through the hall. Ruth saw him. Her heart jumped. She stopped cleaning. She stood straight. She lowered her head. Good afternoon, sir, she said. Her voice shook. David looked at her. For a second, the past stood between them. The rain, the night, the bag in the mud. Then David nodded. Good afternoon, he said. Nothing more, nothing less. Ruth felt tears burn her eyes. She turned away. That evening, Ruth sat alone in her small room. Her body hurt, but her heart was awake. She thought about her life, her pride, her cruelty. How did I become that woman? She asked herself. She remembered fear. Fear of losing love. Fear of losing power. Fear made her cruel. She understood now. In another part of the city, David sat alone in his office. The building was quiet. Lights were low. He leaned back. He thought about the boy he was. Hungry, wet, alone. He thought about the man he became. Strong, calm, grounded. He did not hate Ruth anymore. Hate was heavy. He dropped it long ago. David stood up. He walked to the window. He looked at the city lights. He whispered softly, Ma, I kept my promise. I did not break. Life moved on. Ruth kept working. David kept leading. No drama, no noise, just lessons. My friends, listen carefully now. Trash is not a poor child. Trash is a wicked heart. Never look down on anyone, because they are small today. The one you mock today may lead you tomorrow. Life is watching. Karma walks slowly, but it walks straight. Pain can make you cruel, or it can make you wise. Choose wisdom. Choose mercy. If this story touched your heart, do not scroll away. Like this video, share it with someone who needs it. Subscribe to this channel for more deep African life stories, stories of pain, stories of rise, stories of truth. Thank you for listening. Until next time, keep your heart clean.